Hi, everybody. Can everybody hear me?
We can hear you, Deb.
Oh, great. Okay. Welcome. I'm not sure if I have met everybody there, but I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I'm Debra Boynton. I've been doing nutrition counseling for probably over 30 years now, and exercise classes and group classes at gyms for over 30 years. So I've been in the field for a long time, and I am excited to talk about nutrition and protein and fiber only because lately, I mean, it's protein and nutrition has been very important for a long time, but recently protein has been talked about much more, especially with the weight loss medications and making sure everyone is eating balanced meals and getting enough nutrition with all these medications. And even if you're not on the medications, very important. So, what I'd like to talk about is why protein is so important and how much you should get. I'm going to tell you all things we're going to talk about today, and the foods to get them from, and also fiber. So the two really important key nutrition things I would like to talk about mostly is protein and fiber, because to me they're very important, and they're probably the most important out of the foods you're eating. So protein, let's start with why protein is so important. First of all, it keeps you very full. So if you're having enough protein at each meal and you're having probably a fistful at each meal, you will feel more satiated. It will help with weight loss if you're trying to lose weight, but even if you're not trying to lose weight, it is very important. And depending on your weight, your height, your activity level, we can get into how much protein you would need. But another reason why you should be paying a little more attention to how much protein you're getting, or if you're getting any at all, is it does prevent muscle wasting. As we get older, our muscles, we do lose muscle as we age. And if you're not doing any kind of strength training and really paying attention to anything you're eating, it's not anything you would notice until later on in your life. So I know there's scarcopenia. I'm not really sure if I'm saying it right, but I've noticed that coming up a lot more with a few patients that I have been seeing related to muscle wasting, and those reasons that they're having these issues is most of the time they're not getting enough protein or not really paying attention to how much protein they're getting in their diet, and also some strength training to keep your lean muscle. Another thing that protein does is help prevent losing muscle and basically just sustaining the muscle you have, not necessarily building muscle, although if you are working out, it does help you build muscle. But if you're not working out, it's just a matter of keeping the muscle you have. Protein is very important. I am going to move on to how much protein you should be getting. So there's not an exact amount, but if you have never paid attention to how much protein you're eating, a normal amount is about 80 grams of protein per day, but that's just for the average person that just goes to work or just lives their daily life, not really doing any extra exercise, maybe walking. That's a normal low amount that you should be having. If you want to find out exactly around the amount of protein you should be having, you can make a visit with me. You could just call CareMedica and it can do your nutrition counseling that you get through your Elite CareMedica program. But I can give you a little more detail on exactly how much. But if you can just think about getting about 80 grams a day and seeing if you're even reaching that, you'll be surprised how easy it is to get, or how much you're missing in your meals. So what I mean about protein does not mean, protein that's mixed with other foods, like protein bars and shakes. I just mean straight, clean protein, even though you can have those other foods. clean, straight protein is your lean protein meats, dairy, tofu. So it doesn't necessarily have to be animal product meat. It can be plant-based, because that would be your tofu, your tempeh, your beans, lentils. But straight clean protein is going to be your chicken, fish, ground meats, lean ground meats, chicken sausage, turkey sausage, any kind of animal protein is your straight clean protein. When you're combining it with other foods like protein shakes and protein bars, you may be getting a lot of other calories from carbs and sugars and just getting a little protein in those kind of foods. So it's not like they're bad for you, but if I do have a list of a lean protein list that I can send over to you. So whoever wants that, you can just email me at Deb Boynton at CareMedica.com, and I will send over the list of proteins that I'm talking about. I like to bring up peanut butter because I know peanut butter is always mentioned when people are saying that they're getting enough protein, but peanut butter is basically fat. It's a good fat choice, but it's 200 calories for 2 tablespoons of straight fat and probably 6 grams of protein, whereas a can of tuna would have 25 to 30 grams of protein and no carbs and very little fat. So thinking about getting a fistful of protein at each meal, of course, depending on how big your fist is, that's going to make a difference. Is just something you should start thinking about. And it doesn't have to be a huge amount, but something at each meal. Breakfast is probably the hardest because people like to eat eggs, and eggs have about 6 grams of protein per egg, where I would like you to get about 20 to 30 grams of protein for breakfast, and you can't have that many eggs at one meal. So that's where possibly a protein shake can come in, or you can just have a lighter protein breakfast and then have 30 to 40 grams of protein at lunch and dinner, along with the rest of your food. I'm going to move on to portion control. So I was saying about a fistful, but when it comes to how much protein you should have, the general rule is about 1 gram per pound of your goal weight. However, if your goal weight is 200 pounds, that's a lot of protein to have. So you shouldn't have 200 grams of protein. You should shoot towards your ideal body weight according to the chart and have the lower end. Like, let's say you're 5'7" and you're trying to figure out how much protein you should have. That range for 5'7" can be anywhere from 120 pounds to 140 according to the BMI chart, which I don't agree with the BMI chart. I'm just giving you ranges to think about. About 120 grams of protein to 130 would be a good amount to start with. The only reason possibly that you should ask your doctor. Actually, you should always ask your doctor before starting any kind of change in your diet. But too much protein is really, if you don't have healthy kidneys, then that's where you probably have to have a lot less protein, and you cannot have the amount of protein I'm telling you to have. So protein doesn't harm people with healthy kidneys or free of kidney disease. Protein can only worsen kidneys if you have kidney disease. If you do not have any issues with your kidney and your kidneys function properly, then the normal amount can be anywhere from 80 to 100 grams of protein to start. And that's, again, just a normal amount for the average public. It's not ideally exactly for what you need, because it really is individualized depending on your height, your weight, your activity level, where, again, I can do that for you. I am still talking about protein. Give me 1 second. I feel like I have to hear some questions, but I guess I have to wait till the end. The RDA for protein. If you look up the RDA for protein, I don't know how long ago this was made, but it is a very, very low amount. It's basically just enough protein to prevent to prevent deficiency, malnutrition. So it starts with a very, very low amount, like so low that I'm actually having a hard time believing that it could be that low. But that's what the RDA is always going to be on the lower end, because they just want to prevent deficiency. So that's why these numbers may seem high if you're not someone that already has enough protein. These numbers may seem high to you, but 80 is not a high amount of protein. And I'm going to talk about fiber. So the reason I'm talking about fiber at the same time as protein is because fiber, I'm in my nutrition counseling, again, the past couple of months, there have been several patients with, for some reason, their A1C has gone up, and they never had a high A1C. They're not diabetic. Their glucose was never high. Nothing really changed, but their A1C went up. So the reason can be is that as we get older, I'm not saying that anybody's old. I'm just saying as we get older, the ability to your body's ability to respond to sugar decreases. So a person without diabetes, you're metabolizing sugar a little differently than you used to when you were younger. So our A1C tends to go a little bit higher, and I'm noticing that with a lot of patients lately, that just out of the blue, their A1C is getting higher. So if they weren't really thinking about what kind of carbohydrates they were having before, what would help is looking at the kind of carbohydrates you're having. So again, I do have a list of a lot of different kinds of foods that have a high amount of fiber, starting with vegetables and beans, fruits and grains. But my list also has exactly how much fiber each food item has, and the amounts that you need to have to get to that. So what would be really helpful, if I would like to send this list to all of you, because I wanted you to aim for about 25 to 35 grams of fiber a day. And of course, if you have any medical issues that you should be avoiding fiber, if you have diverticulitis, there's reasons you might not be able to have this much. So of course you have to consult with Dr. Petruzziello first, if there's a reason that you shouldn't be having all this fiber. But in general, 25 to 30 grams of fiber a day would help you, number one, feel full. It definitely helps with constipation. Of course, you have to be drinking water. That's a whole nother subject, but you should be drinking at least half of your weight in ounces is in water. And again, if you have regular healthy kidney function, then that should be fine. If not, then you have to consult with your doctor about that too. But my list for fiber is going to include almonds, black beans, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, carrots, greens, a bunch of greens, edamame, flaxseed, lentils, potatoes, sunflower seeds, sweet potatoes. A lot of berries are very high in fiber. But why I wrote it this way is because I have the amount of grams of fiber it has next to it. So if you just pick a few things from this list, you can easily get yourself to about 20 to 25 grams of fiber a day, just from adding in a few of these products into your salad or into your daily meals without even having an issue. It's really not that hard to do. It's just something that you might not have thought about before. But and another reason why I'm saying this is because it will help your sugar stabilize. So when you have protein in your meal and you have fiber in your meal, you will have a very healthy, balanced meal. So that would look something like, your chicken, your broccoli, and your sweet potato would be a very healthy, balanced meal, but it also helps level your sugar, having a combination of protein, good fats, and fiber all in one meal. And protein, your sugar remains stable, and it also helps stabilize your sugar throughout the day when you're having your carbohydrates. So, having sugary carbs or a lot of white bread and flour and bagels, that kind of that kind of carbohydrate, when your A1C is high, is not going to make it better. If you want to improve that, you would have to have a good amount of fiber at each meal. However, even if you don't have these issues, you're going to feel better by having carbohydrates that have fiber. You will definitely cleanse your body, which of course is going to help. 1 second, I'm moving my spot. So, I mean, some of the other benefits of high fiber: you can reduce the risk of heart disease, diabetes, diverticular disease, constipation, colon cancer, and digestive system, and lowering your cholesterol. So there's just so many benefits of fiber and protein, that those are just the two major things to just start thinking about. See, just to see if what you're actually having at your meals, and pay a little more attention to what you're having at your meals, because long term it will help with your lean muscle, and it would help with your sugar and glucose levels if you're feeling like there's been changes and you're not really sure why. I usually recommend, maybe when you're looking at food labels, look for something that has at least 3 to 5 grams of fiber per serving. So if there's a certain bread you like, try to pick ones that of course are 100% whole grain or whole wheat, would be the first ingredients. And then the amount of fiber should be somewhere around 2 to 3, or 3 to 5. 3 to 5 would be better. Sometimes they're hard to find. And then my protein, like that. I'm still giving you more reasons for fiber, because it's really important. It controls your weight, controls hypertension, it controls your cholesterol levels, your bowel movements, regulates your sugar. I think I mentioned most of you requires more chewing and makes you eat a little bit slower. I think I'm covering everything. I guess I was thinking that you're going to be able to see my list of the vegetables and the protein, because I do want to talk about that a little bit more. But I think I might have covered.
I'm going to step in here, Deb. Hi, everybody. This is Michael Rotolo, the Communications Director at CareMedica Elite. We will be sharing these lists with everybody within the next couple of days. So, Deb, whatever you want to speak about regarding the list, they will have access to it. We also have it looks like we have some questions in the chat that I can read off. Do you want me to read that off for you, Deb?
Sure.
Okay, it looks like from Monica, we have 2 parts. One, do you have a preferred breakfast that you like to suggest to patients looking to get a higher protein intake other than eggs and protein shakes?
Can I answer that now? Yes. Yes. So, but I'm hoping you like this. Greek yogurt and cottage cheese. Do you like Greek yogurt and cottage cheese? Because those would be 2 really great choices to make. I don't know if she can answer that through the chat right now. There's about 12 to 15 grams of protein in Greek yogurt, whether you do it plain or you do the Okios, or there's a brand, the Too Good brand, Too Good Greek yogurt from Dannon, Light and Fit. Those are great sources of protein, and you can also add maybe 5 or 6 almonds to that to make it crunchy. And I'm just saying 5 or 6 because you don't need a lot. But cottage cheese has 15 grams of protein for a half a cup. So if you did a half a cup to even a cup of low-fat cottage cheese, that would give you about 30 grams of protein for breakfast with like a half a cup of berries, and then you'd have a nice high-protein breakfast. Or a protein shake. That's at least 20 to 30 grams of protein per scoop, or per 2 scoops. It depends on the kind you like. It can be 1 scoop or 2 scoop, but it should have at least 20 to 30 grams of protein per serving. So those are 3 items that you can have that aren't eggs. Does that help?
It looks like the second question here from Monica is, does Weight Medica offer custom meal plans that account for improving fiber and protein intake, not just weight loss?
Yes. So Dr. Petruzziello has sent me anybody who has nutrition information they want to know about, whether it's for cholesterol, diabetes, just maintaining their weight, or just learning how to eat healthy. So you can set up your free consultation. It's part of your program, and come and see me. It's a half-hour session, and you can tell me your goals and what you're looking for, and I can set up a meal plan according to how you like to eat and what you're trying to change. And it doesn't have to be for weight loss. I've seen plenty of people not for weight loss, just to learn how to eat healthier.
Now, I just want to remind everyone the floor is open for questions at this point, whether you'd like to unmute yourself or in the chat, you can enter your question like Monica did. So while I allow for people to potentially unmute themselves or enter in the chat, I will ask a question myself, Deb. There seems to be a stigma around cottage cheese, I will say. Although it's high in protein, some people think it's high in fat. I mean, is it like a healthy alternative to other breakfast foods? I mean, how would you describe it?
Well, it 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 is high in fat if you're choosing the whole cottage cheese, the whole 4% cottage cheese. I recommend the 2%. I don't recommend the fat free, only because I don't like the taste of it. I think it tastes very watery. You can do fat free, but the 2% is only about 2.5 grams of fat for a half a cup. So it's actually less fat than an egg. So it is not really high in fat unless you're choosing the whole fat cottage cheese. So cheese, you're just trying to sustain your weight. But if you're concerned about cholesterol and high fat, then of course, then you would have the 2%. But in all around in general, I think the 2% choice for cottage cheese would be perfect, whether weight gain or weight loss.
All right. Now, is there anybody, before we close here, is there anybody who has any questions? Oh, we have one from Brenda. Brenda's asking, what protein grams are in egg whites?
So for a half a cup of egg whites, it can range depending on the brand you buy. Or I don't know if you're talking about liquid egg whites or the whole egg itself, but the yolk is where there's about 5 grams of fat and like 2 grams of protein. So the whites will have about, for one egg, about 3 grams of protein. So you would have to have maybe like a 4 to 6 egg white omelet to get a good 12 grams of protein.
Brenda added a note just saying that it's liquid egg whites that she was referring.
A half a cup of liquid egg whites. I'm pretty sure, I know I've had it written down before. I'm pretty sure has about 7 grams or 7 grams of protein. I'm going to check, but I did have it. I'm pretty sure. You could have a good amount, and it is the clean. Well, it is the cleanest protein you could have without having any. Yeah, about 12. It's about 12 for a half a cup. About 5 for a full cup.
Okay. All right. Good.
Brenda added, thanks, miss you. That's very sweet, Brenda.
Oh, I miss you too. You know where I am,
I will add, anybody who has a question, feel free to ask, to put in the chat. I will add myself, Deb. We spoke, Monica asked about breakfast foods high in protein. I mean, can you suggest, like dinner, lunch items as well, that we haven't maybe covered?
Yeah. So definitely when you said, okay. Chicken breasts, turkey breasts, pork tenderloin, shellfish, shrimp, salmon, any kind of fish, of course, grilled or baked, not fried. Ground beef or ground turkey, and I usually say maybe 93 to 96% lean. So if you like to make ground turkey and put some taco seasoning and put it on a salad, you can have a nice ground turkey salad, and that would give you a good 30 grams of protein for about 4 to 6 ounces of ground turkey. Chicken sausage, turkey sausage, deli meat, I would get the low sodium, but right now deli meat is a tricky thing right now with all this that they found. But deli meat would be okay. Tofu, I don't know if you like tofu, but firm tofu, if you're not that much of a meat eater, any kind of firm tofu, Trader Joe's has a good one, is a block of hard tofu that all you have to do is saute and put some salt and pepper on it, and it can taste like meat. It's really good. Edamame, roasted edamame. Whether they're roasted or whole or frozen, there's about 14 grams of protein per 1/3 cup of edamame beans and about 10 grams of fiber. So that's a great non-meat protein that you can have. I don't know if that answers your questions, but I mentioned pretty much all the meats that would be, I mean, any kind of animal product, that I'm just trying not to have you do like hot dogs and the high fat ones. So these are my leaner meat choices that you'll get a list of. Does that help?
Looking, looks like we have no more questions in the chat. So, before we close here, if anybody has any last minute questions, feel free to add them. I will just remind everybody that, first off, Deb is always available to all of you. You know where she is. She's at Weight Medica in North Haven, 52 Washington. I will be sharing the list that she was referring to with healthy alternatives for, protein and fiber intake. I'll be sharing that with all of you, as well as our other members of CareMedica Elite.
I have one more thing to say when you're done.
Sure thing.
Oh, you want me to say it now?
Yeah.
There's one more thing about protein that I forgot to mention. It has a much higher thermo effect, so it's harder to process and digest. So your body has to work harder to digest protein, which is another reason why it would help boost your metabolism and keep you burning a little more fat more efficiently, because your metabolism has to work a little bit harder to process protein. And along with what Michael's saying is, if you come to see me, it could be more specific to what you're looking for, and you can tell me the foods you like, and then we can tweak it and make it into something that would work for you, that would give you the right amount of protein that you need for you, because everybody's different. It's very individualized. There's not, a certain amount and number for everyone. It's really individualized. Okay, go ahead.
It's really nice that, very connected community here, the CareMedica community, and we're very lucky to have Deb. She's always open and receptive to these sorts of educational resources, for CareMedica, Weight Medica, and CareMedica Elite members alike. So, all right, everybody. Well, everyone have a good rest of your week, good close to your week, and we will be in touch with that list that Deb was referring to.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.